Hey guys, welcome back to the studio for another lesson. Today, we're going to continue our exploration of some improvisation strategies over rhythm changes and check out some different options that we can use to play over the bridge. Just like last time, we'll go over 3 short etudes that'll each cover a different cycle through the changes. The first one is going to be super inside and using typical bebop phrasing and language. Next, we'll learn one of my favorite alternate cycles, the bridge to the eternal triangle. Finally, we'll see how we can apply Coltrane changes to the bridge for some really slick outside sounds. You guys ready? Let's get started. For this first etude, we're just going to play over the standard bridge that I bet most of you are familiar with. At its core, it's a cycle of dominants that move us from 3 back to the home key. In this case, that's B flat. As a result, the harmony is super open to being altered and gives us tons of opportunities to inject lots of cool tensions and resolutions inside of these 8 bars. Check out the etude and you'll see what I mean. Obviously, there's already a lot going on in those 8 bars. We've got tons of added chromaticism, pivot arpeggios, and enclosures, to name just a few things on display. Harmonically, I decided to stick pretty inside the changes, though. There's a couple instances of ideas from the altered scale, and more than a few diminished ideas, but other than that, there's nothing especially weird if you've been learning bebop here at the studio. Most of these kinds of ideas can be found by listening to the masters, transcribing their solos, and then filtering that language through your own understanding of chord scale relationships. As always, the most important thing to getting this stuff sounding right is to make the resolutions to chord tones happen on strong beats as much as possible. In the next short etude, we're going to use the bridge from the eternal triangle to take a step further outside the typical harmony. If you're already feeling reasonably comfortable improvising over the standard set of chords on the bridge, you should really think about trying out the eternal triangle version of the bridge. If you're unfamiliar with that tune, first go check out the record Sunny Side Up. Coming in at a whopping 14 minutes and 10 seconds, the eternal triangle is an absolute masterclass in rhythm changes playing by all parties involved. The bridge that they play on this tune is of special interest to us today, though. Rather than sticking to the typical dominant cycle that we're used to, they go a little further afield and wind back to the tonic chord with this really cool sequence of chromatically descending dominants. Check out this etude over those chord changes up next. This set of changes can be pretty challenging at first, since it forces us to find some clever ways to smoothly connect chromatically descending dominant chords. And once you get the hang of it, though, it's a really fun cycle to play over. In a similar way to the standard chords, I'm really just concerned with the dominants. At higher tempos, the harmonic rhythm is moving so quickly anyway that it just makes our lives easier to not worry about the preceding 2 chord to each dominant. In the next etude, we're going to go way outside the normal harmony for the bridge and superimpose a Coltrane cycle over the whole thing. Another strategy we can use to play outside the harmony is to superimpose a different cycle of changes over the existing bridge that roughly gets us to the same harmonic places. We did this in the last lesson on the A section by superimposing a dominant cycle over the first 4 bars. Today, we're going to do the same thing, but a little weirder than that even. We can actually overlay a Coltrane changes cycle, sometimes called a Coltrane matrix, over the bridge to rhythm changes. In case you're unfamiliar, Coltrane changes is a cycle of chords written by the legend himself, John Coltrane. Its most well-known use is on the tune Giant Steps, but he made use of the concept behind that tune's progression as well in other works like Countdown and 26-2. If you're curious about how the Coltrane matrix functions, let me know down in the comments and I'll be sure to do a deep dive on it in a future video. For now, let's check out how applying this set of changes can sound when overlaid on top of a rhythm changes bridge. Thanks so much for hanging around all the way to the end of today's video. Make sure you let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of the lesson. I really hope you guys enjoyed these 3 etudes today and that you were able to take away something for your own solos, or at the very least, some inspiration for your own practice sessions. As always, if you did find today's lesson helpful, make sure you give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell for notifications. I really appreciate all the support, and it does go a long way to helping the channel grow. If you want to get access to the PDF materials for today's lesson, along with the whole back catalog for all the videos on my channel, you can get that over at my Patreon page for as little as $10 a month, or by just hitting that join button right here on YouTube. I also offer private virtual instruction over on Patreon as part of the Jazz Luminaire tier, so if that's something that you're interested in, head on over there and join the studio. A big thank you goes out to Ron Maestas and Milan de Kaiser for being studio fans. I really appreciate your guys' support. A huge thank you is due to these awesome studio members for their support as well. PH, David Zuckerbraun, Max Irwin, Everton Armstrong, Jay Jarek, Stephen Schwartz, Aaron Walters, Stephen Prager, Artie Sanchez, Pedro Santos, Zé Soares, Michael LeBroy, Patrick Caron, Carl Jackson, David Wortman, and Shane Leonard. An extra special shout out to Jazz Luminaire patrons Vibhav Babdi and Bill Jacob. Thank you guys all so much for being a part of the community. I'm David Shore, and thanks again for hanging out with me at the studio today. I'll see you guys next time.